Alright, today we are working with the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is another way we can solve quadratic equations. With the quadratic formula, we have to make sure that all of our equations are set up in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So the right side of our equation has to equal 0. If anything else is on the right side other than 0, it has to be moved over. So with example 1, I have 2n squared plus 2n minus 4 equals 0. So the right side of my equation is 0, so I'm good there. If I look, I have an a value of 2, b is also 2, and c is negative 4. So what I'm going to do is use these values and the quadratic formula to solve this equation. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my a, b, and c values and plug them into this formula and then simplify. So what I have now is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start simplifying here. I can't do anything with the negative 2 out front, so it's going to stay for now. I have plus or minus the square root. 2 squared is 4, and then I have negative 4 times 2, that's negative 8, times 4 is negative 4 is a positive 32. All over 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, from here, x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 32 is 36, all over 4. The square root of 36 is going to be 6, so x equals negative 2 plus or minus 6 over 4. So what I have here is two equations. I have x equals negative 2 plus 6 over 4, and I have x equals negative 2 minus 6 over 4. In this first equation, x equals negative 2 plus 6, that's a positive 4 over 4. So x equals 1. In this second equation, x equals negative 2 minus 6, which is negative 8, over 4, which is negative 2. So my answers for this first problem are positive 1 and negative 2. Alright, example 2. Example 2 is different. As you can see, the right side of my equation is actually a negative 5. So what I need to do is move that over to the left side of the equation by adding 5 to both sides of the equation. These will cancel. I have 2x squared minus 6x minus 108 equals 0. So my a values, or my a value is 2. We'll do it this way. My a value is 2, my b value is negative 6, and my c value is negative 108. Again, I'm going to plug all of this into the quadratic formula. So I have x equals negative b. b is already negative, so negative 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So we're going to start simplifying inside the radical now. X equals negative 6. This is going to be positive. So positive 6 plus or minus the square root of 36. Negative 4 times positive 2 times negative 108 is going to be 864. So positive 864 all over 2 times 2, which is 4. So x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 900 over 4. The square root of 900 is 30, so x equals 6 plus or minus 30 over 4. And again, we have our two equations. X equals 6 plus 30 over 4. X equals 6 minus 30 over 4. 6 plus 30 is 36. And 36 divided by 4 is 9. So x equals 9 for our first answer. In the second equation, x equals 6 minus 30, which is going to be negative 24 divided by 4. So x equals negative 6. And those are our two answers. Our last example is example 3. It is 6b squared plus 2b equals 88. If you look again, our right side of our equation is not 0, it's 88. So what I need to do is subtract 88 from both sides. These will cancel and become 0. And I have 6b squared plus 2b minus 88 equals 0. For this example, a is 6, b is 2, and c is negative 88. So I'm going to plug everything in. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So we're going to go ahead and simplify inside the radical. X equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4. 2 squared is 4. And then I have 4 times negative 6. Pardon me. I have negative 4 times 6 times negative 88. And that's going to be a positive 2,112. All divided by 2 times 6, which is 12. So we have x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 212. That's going to be writing the wrong thing here. 4 plus 212 is going to be 2,116 divided by 12. And if you take your calculator, the square root of 2,116 is going to be 46. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus 46 divided by 12. And just like the last two examples, that means we have two equations here. x equals negative 2 plus 46 divided by 12, and x equals negative 2 minus 46 over 12. Negative 2 plus 46 is going to be 44. And I have 44 divided by 12. I can't divide 44 by 12, but what I can do is reduce. I can divide both of these things by 2. I can also divide both of these things by 4. 44 divided by 4 is 11. 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's as simple as that fraction is going to get. For this last equation, I have x equals negative 48 over 12, which is going to be negative 4. And that is how you solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula.